Welcome on in, everyone, to the VMW podcast. I'm your host this week, Grey Wolves. Joining me today, we have these two lovely gentlemen because Platinum decided she hates us and couldn't make it. So, joining me
Yeah,
first off, we have Blindside here.
hello, I'm Blindside. I'm a variety streamer from England, as you can tell by my wonderful accent.
It's indeed wonderful. I swoon every time. And special joining us this week, we have Toddy. Toddy, say hello.
I'm Toddy's son. I'm here because they couldn't find anybody else.
That is not true.
Well,
I mean, that's actually always the case. We can't find someone until we find someone. So you're that person because the other people said.
it's a bit like that when people say, like, oh, yeah, it's always the last place you look for it. Like, yeah, because when I find it, I stop looking.
Yeah.
I don't go like, oh, yeah, there he goes. Now,
No, I told Toddy he was the first male I asked because, like, I try to be somewhat self-aware, and I realized two of the people are just like generic white dudes. So like when Platinum couldn't make it, I was like, okay, I want to try to get like at least another female representative or just not another white dude. And I went through like 7 or 8 people, and everyone said no. So I was like, Toddy, you're up. You want to go on?
Toddy,
So we
you.
asked another
Women
one.
won't have us.
Yeah, that's the case. All right. So welcome on in, everyone. So quick recap of some stuff in the news this week. Xbox has pissed off its fan base, then tried to walk back. Cyberpunk continues to have both legal and technical issues. The Kong vs. Godzilla trailer just dropped today. Bernie continues to capture the hearts of just about everyone in the world, and a tall vampire is making everyone horny. So that's what we got so far. So what do you guys thought?
This week, like the tall vampires making people horny, isn't that just like daily?
Yeah,
That's
but this
a
one's
permanent-
especially tall. It's
the permanent fixture in our world. It's fine.
so I was watching an anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, and there's one character
How are we animate? Like we're like 38 seconds in, and you went. So I was watching an anime.
because the reference of tall comes up.
The beautiful transition.
Thank you. I work on
Gray
it real
has-
work
Gray
hard
has
every
an
week.
Anime for any keywords.
So,
Just so I was watching an anime.
so I was watching an anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, and in it, before like any fight with someone, a guy's like, "Who's your type?" and like he just decides your character based on your type of woman. And so the main character was like, I don't know, tall with a big ass, like Jennifer Lawrence. And I was like, okay, I mean, she's very attractive, but like, does she have a big? So now this anime has caused me to, all right, let's Google Jennifer Lawrence's ass. Okay,
Oh, I
Jennifer
Googled
Lawrence's
Jennifer
height.
Lawrence height.
I did that too. I also did that, 5 feet 9 inches.
She's,
But, like,
yeah, she's 5'9". That's not even that tall.
well, I think it's actually, I don't know what the U.S. average
Yeah,
is. I think it's above average, so that would make her tall. But
yeah,
But like it just amused me because like some animator or writer really has a huge crush on her because there was no like this her name was in English. So it's not even just like the subtitle or picked a random person. Like it was in English in the actual audio. So.
You've talked about this one before because he's got a mouth in his hand. I just googled it. We've discussed this before because I've googled literally this show and there's a guy with a mouth on his hand, and I'm sure you explained it last time. But
A
I'm
mouth
gonna
on
be
his hand,
honest,
that sounds like Parasite, not Jujutsu Kaisen.
I literally searched Jujutsu Kaisen and it came up and it was like Jujutsu Kaisen, and then a man has a mouth on his hand.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know that scene. Sorry, yes. There's an anime Parasite where there's a mouth on his hand the entire show. Where in Jujutsu
there's
I've seen the
picture.
thumbnail for that on Netflix, but I've never
Yeah,
watched
but
it.
with Jujutsu Kaisen, it happens a little bit. It's not like it's easy for me to forget about that amongst everything else. Where Parasite, like that's the thing. His hand is an alien.
Come on, he has Jennifer Lawrence's ass on the brain. Leave him alone.
Is it literally just Naruto? Like from the picture that I now have, it is just Naruto. That guy's Sasuke, and then there's a guy with a big glowing blue thing around his hand. So that's just like the Naruto like
Rasengan.
energy ball thing. That one. I've never watched Naruto. I don't watch any animes. It's weird. I don't know how. I need to start watching them just for this podcast. So you can be like, I've got an anime for that, and I'll be like, I've got an anime for that. To watch the most generic anime that covers every single subject. It's the only way.
I fully endorse this. So talk more about this Xbox thing.
Turned into an anime podcast.
I was
Every
I was
time.
I just tried to change subjects. I was trying to. I was gonna say, tell me more about the Xbox thing because you told me a little bit about it before stream. So for people that don't know, so
I'm
what happened?
I'm still convinced it's just a massive conspiracy theory of like modern media and how it works. But Xbox basically came out and they went, we're gonna make Xbox Live Gold, which is so they have Xbox Live Silver, which is free, and I think you can like join parties, but you can't play games online. Then they have Gold, which is you can then play games online. I think you get a free game every month, and then they have like
There are 2 or
Game
3 games.
Pass.
Yeah.
So they have like Game Pass Ultimate that includes Xbox Live Gold, and it used to be $60 for a year.
Okay.
And they basically just came out, an announcement came out of nowhere on Microsoft's Twitter, and they went, "Oh, by the way, Xbox Live Gold is now going to be $120 a year, which is literally twice the price."
Yeah.
And they were like, "But Ultimate Game Pass is exactly the same as it was before, so like you may as well just get Ultimate Game Pass." And everyone was just like, "Oh, so they're trying to get rid of Gold and make it so it's only Game Pass. You just
Yeah.
have Game Pass or Xbox Live Silver."
Yeah.
Which
Consolidate.
I think the main problem people had with it was if you play like Fortnite on the Xbox, that is a free game that is free to play. Obviously, it's got like battle pass and stuff. The microtransactions Microsoft takes a cut, but you're already paying. It's the only service that you have to pay money to play Fortnite online. So if you play on any other platform, you can just pick up the game for free, play it online for free. Even on Nintendo, which is like, because Nintendo have always been known for being a bit like, we don't want to play with others.
Yeah.
So they were like, so now if you say I owned an Xbox just for Fortnite, I have to pay £120, $120 a year to now carry on playing the game that I was already playing. So everyone got big mad. But then basically Xbox, a day after, I don't think it was very long at all. The day after, we're like, okay, we're not going to make this change. And also, we heard what you're saying about free-to-play games. So we're going to make it so you can play them on Live Silver. So like you don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty convinced they just wanted to take away the need for gold for free games, but they were like, but no one's going to care if we do that. So we'll just make outrage first. Make everyone mad first, rile them up, stir that pot.
Yeah. Get their
And then we'll be
attention.
like,
Yeah, our names in the news first. Yeah.
exactly. Get your name everywhere and then go, well, actually, look at us. We're the good guy. And or
We
realistically,
listened
they're
to you.
only
We're
the
good.
right guy. Like they call up to everyone else.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, but like our benevolence is unknown. And it's just like you just built us. I can't deal with it.
There was
But-
an article for Xbox that came out not too long ago where it was divulged that like they reached out to Nintendo around like the Wii era, like right Wii U, somewhere in that time frame, or maybe it was before that. Anyway, a while ago, and was like, "Hey, we want to buy you. Like, you're currently like a $10 million company, or your cash on hand or whatever. Like, your net worth is like 10 million, something like that. So it was like right. It was like after like N64, before the Wii, when like Xbox and PlayStation were just like crushing the market right before the Wii came out, or right before game. Or like I said, it was and so Nintendo's not. It's a well-known company, but it's not a world dominator. And Nintendo just laughed them out of the meeting room. Like they met up in person, and Nintendo just laughed their asses off at them to their face until they left. And like I just love the like no diplomacy, no just immediate laughter. And Xbox is like, oh, we thought this was a good idea. We thought you'd be all over it. Like,
Well, didn't a similar thing happen with Netflix and Blockbuster? Blockbuster they offered Netflix, and it was like right towards Blockbuster was gonna own Netflix, and then like literally last minute Blockbuster turned around. They were like, "Nah, actually, we don't need you." And now Blockbuster doesn't exist.
Yeah, Netflix was trying to sell itself, I think, to Blockbuster. I think at the time they were small. Yeah, and the owners were kind of like, "Hey, you want to like buy us and like do that?" And Block was like, "Nah, we got this," and then they didn't get this. They did not got.
They did not got this.
I was working there when that happened. I was working at Blockbuster at that time because they did Blockbuster online, and you can get when you got your DVDs, instead of sending them back in the mail, you could go into the store, turn them in the store, and immediately get another rental, and we'd mail them back for you. So you could have less lag time. And meanwhile, while you rent from the store, your next one in the mail is also on its way. So like the turnaround was really good, but like people churn through movies so quickly, or they're just like, I'm not watching movies this fast. And like Netflix just crushed them. Also, Blockbuster really needed to change their pricing dynamic because Netflix existed and because Redbox existed. and not Blockbuster never did change its prices, and so Redbox plus Netflix just made Blockbuster
I
obsolete.
remember Blockbuster being really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was a child when Blockbuster was around, so like, because I never paid for anything.
New
We just got
release,
like PlayStation games. That was
yeah,
like
no,
it.
new releases were like several dollars a night. And old movies were like $3 for like the weekend, or like they had like it was a couple bucks for a couple nights, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, you need to drop your new releases to be like $2 a night or something like that, and all your old movies need to be just $1 a night like Redbox, because you have a better inventory. Like you have a vastly superior selection than Redbox does, but everyone's just going to Redbox because it's significantly cheaper, and most of the time they only care about the new movies. So like having higher costs for the old movies, you're just losing money. Like no one cares.
Yeah, because who's renting old movies?
I mean, a surprising number, but like it's not what they go for. It's more of, oh, it's the weekend. If you rent one new movie, you get two old ones for free and stuff like that. So then people would walk through the old selection, like, oh man, I haven't seen Ace Ventura in a while, and I want to watch it.
Oh
Because again,
yeah.
this is before like you just had the internet, and you could just like find a movie.
Yeah.
Like, because my wife and I just rewatched Casino Royale the other night. We were just on the couch eating TV. I was on Netflix. I was like, ooh, Casino Royale. I loved that movie. We watched it. That's what's that? Came out in 2014 or 2006, something like that. It was like 14 years old.
I
Like,
suppose that's the thing with like Blockbusters. Like, because you used to go and like browse. We used to go on
Mhm.
a Saturday because it was closed on a Sunday. So if you
Yeah.
got something on the Saturday, you didn't have to return it till the Monday.
Mhm.
So we used to like go, but like it was like a whole evening. Like we would go and we'd browse around
Yeah.
Blockbusters for a bit. We'd have a look at what they had, and then like we'd get whatever we were gonna watch, and then we'd like go get takeout, and then we go home.
Yeah.
So I suppose it was like a whole thing. Like
Yeah, no.
it wasn't just like because like now Netflix spend 45 minutes looking at an almost inexhaustive list of every movie ever made. Like
Yeah.
and you just sit there and decide for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But
And Netflix is trying to improve its like recommendation algorithm, but like that's the problem. Like I don't like it's got all these weird subcategories, and you rarely go into like the deep. You just browse all their categories they've recommended, and you go, nah, nothing strikes my fancy. Where with Blockbuster, like you just like walk to the comedy section, that's just straight alphabetized. And you like walk over to this section, like it's just straight alphabetized. It's not like a subset of those
There was
movies.
always a whole wall of nothing but the newest release.
Oh yeah, the whole outside wall was the anything released that year. Once it was a year out, that it got moved to the center. So
yeah, we used to. So ours had like PS1 games. And I remember like they used to rent out Final Fantasy VII, which of all the games in the world to rent out, because it's like 50 hours. And they'd be like, oh yeah, if you want to rent it for like 2 nights, it's like £5. And you're like, no one's completing this in 2 nights. You're gonna get to play like literally the first couple missions of the game and then just bring it back.
yep.
But yeah, anything longer than like Rayman, just don't rent it. Why would you rent
Well, it's because they never changed their gaming renting structure since the NES games.
Oh yeah, it's probably true actually.
So where you only needed a night or two, like you might not beat it, but you've played the whole game really at that point. Like, because
I
like
suppose it worked for like arcade style games.
yeah,
But now you've got Blockbuster making its own genre of game. Just
so
rentals. That's the
yeah.
genre.
But yeah, so like I loved working with Blockbuster. It was a lot of fun. So
I imagine it would be cool. Did you have an adult bit? Was there an adult bit in your
not in
Blockbusters?
ours. We had it
Behind a little curtain.
where our location was a private movie rental movie before Blockbuster bought it and made it one of theirs. So it did have a section that looked like that, but it just got converted to storage. So we get people all the time asking to go back to the adult section. We don't have an adult section. That's just storage now. Like, but it very clearly was that.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
think mine did either.
It's got like a bead curtain. Yeah, that's just where we store things. It's fine. It's not for you.
don't go back there. So no, it was so much fun. Yeah, we got like 5 free rentals a week. We could rent movies before they hit the shelves. Same with video games, because they would come in on like Saturday or Sunday. And they don't go on the floor till Thursday, but we could rent them, and then we just have to bring them back before they're supposed to be on the floor.
It'd be perfect if you're a game reviewer. You'd have that like launch day review out.
Yeah. So
Your blog would just be ahead of everything. Assume it like yeah, because that must have been before like YouTube and stuff. YouTube
Yep.
was
Yeah.
It was a lot later.
Yeah, I worked at Blockbuster in 2006 ish. So 2005, 2006. So 15, 16 years ago.
I mean, at least I was I was an adult at that point. Like, an adult, I was like 16 in 2006.
Yeah,
But
it was a lot of fun. But
man, those are the days. Modern retail. Go work in an Amazon warehouse, getting whipped by Roombas or something. Whatever it is they do in those places.
no, you nailed it. That's exactly what it is. Roombas just come by. You ever see the movie, the TV show Farscape?
Yes.
That's what they had. The little
It's like
robots, and they just zap you in the
Farscape.
leg. You're like, ah,
Yeah.
little yellow robots. Get to work.
The blue girl in Farscape had a strong impression on how I came out as a man. Like in that transitional period of teenage years.
Zahn? No.
I don't remember.
Hmm.
She was always like cartwheeling through corridors and stuff like that.
Oh,
Very
that's not the
strange
blue.
character.
She wasn't blue. Blue was the plant lady. You're talking about the girl who dated the
She was blue?
was she?
Or she was like grey or white?
Yeah, she was gray and white because there was an actual blue person.
There was a blue person?
Yeah, she was only in
there was a blue person.
she was in like the
Oh,
first 2 seasons and then she left.
now
but-
I'm just Googling Farscape.
Yeah, it was played by Gigi Edgley.
Oh my
Oh.
god, the main guy was such just like chiseled jaw American man who just happens to be in space. Like the least likely to be in space person ever.
He was a very smart astronaut. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I suppose. All I remember from the show was him being an absolute dumbass, like and them treating him like he's a child because he didn't know all this space stuff.
Yeah,
We have to.
you're talking about her. Camera focus. Oh, it's got a
We
ring
have
light.
to,
It's not focusing well.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She
No.
certainly shaped my my pubescent years.
Her, Xena, Lucy Lawless.
Yeah, Xena Warrior Princess. Although I'm not sure you could never remake that program in 2021. Just the noise she makes as she goes into fights. And there's no way you get away with that.
No. But yeah, no, that's what she did. It was like, or something like that. Just
such weird weapons as well.
yeah,
Final Fantasy 14 had the whole class that uses those.
the chakram, the circle disc.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, they're an actual thing. I don't know how viable they are, but like they are an actual thing from history.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 used them as a dancer. And then, they're in another game. Kingdoms of Amalur had them.
Yep.
The chakrams.
I love
Like,
Kingdoms of Amalur.
Did you play Re-Reckoning?
Yeah.
When they remade it in the last couple of years?
Oh, no. Sorry. Well, no.
No.
Well, because it was Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning was just the first one. So you said Re-Reckoning. I was like, yeah, Reckoning. Then I was like, wait, no,
Yeah.
Re-Reckoning. No.
So they made a remake. I think it was like last year or the year before. Called
Okay.
Re-Reckoning, and it was a remake of the game. And I never picked it up. It went on sale the other day.
I
definitely meant to.
It was a lot of fun. The thing that I loved about the game was your ability just to like respec. Because it was one of the earlier games that did that. Like you could be like, oh, I'm a dual wielding roguey thing. And then like 3 hours, then you're like, I just want to be a fighter. And you just like completely change all your stat points. Like, no, I'm a fighter. And like, no, I want to do this. And you like, it just allowed you just to, yeah, getting bored of simple play style, just switch it up. Like it was a lot of fun.
I think it was definitely one of the first games that like you could really, really like steer your character into like whatever build you really wanted.
Mhm.
Like I don't think there was a lot around at that point that you could just be like, yeah, I'm just going to take this skill, this skill, this skill. Like a lot of them were.
Mhm.
You're like, okay, you're a fighty person, so you pick from these skills, or you're a magicy person, so you pick from these skills.
Yeah, or if you had
Amalur was like, go, just do what you want to do.
yeah, and that's what made it so much fun. Because even if you didn't like what you're doing, just reset it and like, nah, just do this. You don't have to start the game over.
Oh, it's the worst. When you mess up a build in a game and it's like, do I restart and lose 30 hours or like do I just give up?
Yeah.
You're just struggling through.
Oh man. Fun times.
But yeah, I suppose Kingdoms of Amalur puts us onto nostalgia.
Blockbuster put us on nostalgia. Kingdom. We've actually been
yeah,
on
true.
point pretty damn well, incidentally.
We did it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like we're professionals or something.
This
So-
Amazon Plat's not here.
True.
On the point. Boom, done. Play the objective.
So one of the reasons that I was thinking about nostalgia is because, in particular, you are working your way through all of the Final Fantasy games. We talked about it a little bit before. So like, it's just that idea of going back to old games and like, do they hold up? Like, or is it just your like childhood memory that makes them great? And like to revisit, go, ooh, this bad, this bad. So
So I
like,
mean, you're saying about like me playing the old Final Fantasy. The problem with that being nostalgia is I'd never played the old Final Fantasies
but
before.
that's the thing. You're now playing extremely old games for the first time. Do they hold up as
Yeah.
good games?
To
You
be
don't
honest,
have
some of
that.
them do,
You don't have that. Those blinders.
but I'm not playing the NES versions. So
That's
a
fine.
lot of these games came out on the NES and the SNES.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently playing the Game Boy Advance version of 5, which is still like it is like an older game and it still carries a lot of the systems over and stuff. But honestly, like they have carried over very well. The advantage that Final Fantasy has is the music is incredible.
Yeah.
Going through the older games, like having played like 7, 8, 9, some of the like really big like recognizable songs from those games, the roots of those songs are in the earlier games. Like there's a lot of like the prelude is like used in a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
different songs, and there's like certain bits to pick up again. But I suppose like that's bits and pieces of like I hear the songs, I'm just like, oh, I know this. Like it's almost like I'm already linked to it.
Yeah.
Um, but like I'm really enjoying the like class systems in the older games. Final Fantasy 2 had problems. Had like major problems.
Yeah.
But I was warned of this because everyone was like, yeah, they made Final Fantasy 1 and then they made Final Fantasy 2 and everyone hated it, and then they made Final Fantasy 3, it was way better. So I dragged my way through to I never beat the last boss because I was just
Okay.
like, no, this fight's totally broken. I'm not doing it.
Quitter.
But yeah, so far I've enjoyed all of them. There's been some moments in like 1 and 2, and I suppose a couple in 3
Mm.
that you really hit onto the fact that like trying to find pacing for video games was never a priority in old video games.
Yeah.
Like you play through like one section and it'd be like, oh, and we're going pretty easily through here, and then it's like, okay, go to the next bit. It's like soul crushingly difficult. Like the way they balance stuff, you can see where like one dev has maybe done over here and then one dev did over here, and it's like a different experience entirely.
Yeah.
So I hit a couple walls like that because like I don't think modern games really. I think they're a bit more cohesive.
Well, have you heard the phrase Nintendo hard?
Yeah, NES hard.
No,
Yeah. So
I've not heard that.
so that's an old phrase. So Toddy's how old are you two comparatively? What's your guys' age difference?
I am 30.
I'm 33.
Okay, so you're actually not that far apart. Um, but Nintendo hard refers to almost like an artificial blocks that were put there to increase playtime. So, you finish that first section, and the second section is significantly harder because they want you just to dawdle around the first section longer, just grind, 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 and then do this to play more. So, like, they did these things to, like, artificially make it harder and make the playtime longer. So, like, the old Ghouls and Ghosts games are, like, notoriously difficult because they want you just to keep re-going and going and going to get that play out of it. Because realistically, they only have about an hour of playtime, but they got to try to make you play more and more. And then like Ghouls and Ghosts, once you get to the end, they're like, good, you finished half the game, beat it again for the actual ending. Then they just make you play the game twice, which is just flat out.
Well, Zelda has the Master Quest too.
Yep.
After you beat the first 9 worlds, they have the Master Quest where they shuffle everything and all the dungeons are in different spots now.
Yeah, because
I'm
it takes
son of a bitch.
it takes almost no storage space to reuse it and just change the locations. So they can artificially increase the length of a game without actually doing anything, just make it harder. Nintendo hard.
I mean, would you say that's better or worse than just charging for like tons of DLC? Like day 1 DLC. Like I think I'd rather just have like do you want to play like mirrored mode basically?
Yeah.
See, that's what bothers me when people say, oh, I'm paying the same price for a video game as I did 10 years ago. And it's like, no, because 10 years ago, they didn't have DLC. If they wanted to add to a game, they had to make a sequel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you buy a game for, $60, and then you play a good portion of the game, but then they have 4 DLCs after it, so you have to buy a season pass for another $40. So you're spending almost $100 per video game now, and people are like, "Oh no, I'm still spending $60 like I was on, N64 games," and it's like, no, not really.
Yeah, I have purchased Smash Brothers twice so far, just buying the DLC characters.
Yeah,
Like,
Is this the newer one?
well,
Is
yeah,
it Smash Ultimate?
yeah. So, uh, I as they add more characters, I keep buying all the characters, and so like they haven't added twice the number of characters, but I've purchased the game twice.
Yeah, no. I'd rather like I think my fuss is like with a lot of single player stuff, I generally wait.
Hmm.
So like I will happily wait like a year after release to pick up a game. Like it doesn't bother me. As long as it's not like because a lot of games nowadays, if it's like multiplayer only, if all your friends are playing it, you know you're gonna miss out. Like
Mhm.
you know you're never gonna play it if you get it in a year's time because they would have moved on to whatever like the flavor of that month is.
And you always have
yeah.
that one friend that doesn't work as much as you, so they've done everything, and you're like, it's day two. Like,
This game came out 4 hours ago. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I pre-installed it and then I just stayed up for 2 days straight. And they're like, well, okay. I have work at 9 a.m. So
yeah. So, but like, are there any games that you guys have ever gone back to that don't hold up? You're like, man, I remember loving this game, and like you go back to play, and you're like, this is just not.
I haven't really gone back for many games. Recently, I went back and redid Grandia 2.
Okay.
Because Grandia 2 has an HD remake. So they did a remake that's the first game and the second. And that's a game that I played like as a kid. I think it was on the Dreamcast that I played it. No, it wasn't. There was a PS2 release of it. I remember when I played it. So I played it on the PS2. And I went back and it held up brilliantly. But that's
Okay.
like the only game that I've really gone back for. Only because there's like a lot of like Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 7, I never stopped playing it. Like I
Yeah.
play that game through like once a year at least. Like I just go back and do it anyway because I just love it. So I don't think there's been anything that, like for me anyway, that I've gone
Yeah.
back and been like, Star Wars Battlefront 2 actually. I went back because I remember having so much fun with it, like the original.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, I have loads of fun. And then I played it with a couple of friends. I was just like, ooh, it's mechanically it's very janky. Like old FPS games, how did we ever do it?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever gone back and played GoldenEye, the N64 GoldenEye?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I used to throw so much time into that game. I went back once and played it because a friend had their N64.
Yeah.
And I was just sat there playing it like, how? I used to play this for hours, like with my
Mhm.
brother or with friends over whatever. And I was like, it's horrible. It's horrible to handle.
Yeah. No,
It's
it's
still fun, but yeah, a lot of the graphics from N64 did not hold up very well.
What about you, Toddy? Is there games you've ever gone back to that just didn't hold up?
I think just graphic wise, like he was saying, like GoldenEye is definitely one of them because that was like a staple of childhood for a lot of people. A lot of people played that, but you go back to it now and you look at it and it's like, oh, this is the ugliest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of games, like I said, for Nintendo 64. There was a lot of games like that just I don't think held up very well compared to a lot of other games.
Hmm.
I don't know what they did different about that system, but
I mean, it depends on when it came out and depends on how they used the art style to its advantage. Because like Mario 64 just has a classic look. Like it doesn't look bad. It definitely doesn't like it's not going to compete with Galaxy, but like its style is iconic and it's just good. But other games like they
I
would,
was just saying like Ocarina of Time too and stuff.
yeah.
Oh, I got the 3DS remake for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah.
And like they did a really good job of remaking it. Like it feels really good on the DS.
That's
Also, like it has motion controls,
Yeah,
which is just like quite nice.
I feel like when I was a kid, my patience for games was much better than it is now. So like for example, like you said, like you used to sink hours into GoldenEye and like Ocarina of Time. Like I played that game so many times. Like I I would just play it from beginning to beat it and stuff like that. Not like in the speedrunning sense. Like I just kind of like I'd do a little bit of the first castle, leave, do a little bit of the second castle as an adult, then go get Big Orange Sword, and then go and complete the first castle because it just amused me just to like beat the boss. Like
yeah.
So like I would do things like that, but like now, like I couldn't imagine like replaying a game that many times. I just don't have the mentality for it. Like I know people do, some people do as an adult, like speedrunners and like you play Final Fantasy VII like every year. Like I just don't have the mentality for like that I used to for games like that. There's so many out there that I want to play. I'm like, oh, I'm done with this one. Like that was a lot of fun. On to the next. Like
Yeah.
Do you think that's conditioning from modern games, or do you think because like you have less time now? Like as a
Yeah.
kid, like what you got to do, like you want to go spend 6 hours playing a video game, like absolutely. But it's like now you want to spend 6 hours playing a video game, even if you wanted to. It's like
And probably because
wife needs something, groceries need doing.
yeah.
So you had a limited library when you were a kid because you didn't want to ask your parents for a new game.
That's the other one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now, like how many games do you reckon you got in your Steam library?
A
I
lot.
think I checked this the other day, and I've got like 400 games.
And how many of you never even played? that's
So
that's actually the worst number. The number of games you have, like, yeah, cool, that can be almost like bragging rights. Like, how many are unplayed? Like, I don't want to talk about it. That's
So out of because I have a lot of like humble bundle stuff and like where
So,
you get like PR,
I
PRs
do.
give you games and stuff like that. Like,
I have the humble bundles, but they're in its own library. I haven't added them all to my Steam library because I don't want them to make my Steam library look worse.
see, I redeem every code ever,
Mm-hmm.
but so on my Steam I have like a category that is just to be completed.
Yeah.
So I fished through everything that is in my Steam library, and like I've got like a couple categories that are like multiplayer or Final Fantasy games, whatever. And then I've got like uncategorized, which are games that I've finished or games that I'm probably never going to play. In my games, out of all of them that I have gone through and gone, yes, I will play this at some point, but I haven't started it, or with some of them I think I've done like the first little bit and then never finished it.
Yeah.
33 games. That's it. Only 33.
Uh-huh. But you
I
said
mean,
there
there
was
is
an
an awful lot.
uncategorized one that also has some stuff in it.
Yeah, but the uncategorized ones have stuff that like there are games there that I will never play. It's just like
Okay.
I've got them.
But that's
Like,
but
game Dev Tycoon and
but
Hellpoint.
those are games you have in your library that are unplayed. So how
Oh, then
many
in
is
that
it?
case,
How many are in the uncategorized?
253 of them.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. You're over here, 33. So what about this one? I don't want to talk about that.
33 games, that's it. But in that 253, like there's a good chunk of them that I have finished.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I'll move them from, if I finish them, I'll move them from to be completed. Because a while back I used to do Finish It Fridays,
Mhm.
which was I would just finish games that I already owned that I have not played yet or
Yeah.
like never finished. So I actually made like a decent chunk in that. Like I did all the
My
Arkham
headphones are yelling at me.
games. Yeah, mine were earlier, but I'm fed up of being tethered. Yeah, I did like all the Arkham games. I did the Dishonored games. Like I went and found the ones that I actually like really wanted to play.
Yeah.
So like I have cleared some of it.
I really should do that. I should go through and like organize it. But what I do is those games that I will never play, I hide them so they don't show up in those numbers. So I have games that are hidden that don't even show up, so that again I feel better about the number I scroll through.
But I don't want to hide something because some of them are like I've got like the old Jedi Knight games and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Star Wars Humble Bundle, and it's like odds are I'm not going to play them. They're really old, like PlayStation
Yeah.
Star Wars games that I'm probably never going to play. But if they're there, maybe one day I'll be like, was Star Wars Jedi Academy any good? One way to find out. Like,
Yeah.
and then I'll go do it.
Answer
I bought
no.
that whole bundle just for KOTOR, just for Knights of the Old Republic. I was like, yes, give it to me.
See, like every now and then I look on my phone and I like Final Fantasy 9, KOTOR. Like these are games you can buy and play on your phone. And part of me is like, I kind of wanna. I would enjoy playing these games just whenever I want on my phone. Like, but at the same time, like I'm not dropping $20 so I can play Final Fantasy 9, for example, on my phone.
I may have Final Fantasy 9 on my Switch, and I still have my old PS1 version, and I have it on Steam.
So you have just bought it. You can get it on your phone for just $20 more. Just hop on that Google
Just
Play
$20
Store.
to get it on my phone.
Mine as well. I mean, it's the last one.
I got it on the Switch because I think the Switch has the like the save and quit. Like you don't have to like go to a Moogle.
Mhm.
So I've noticed this with a lot of the GBA ports of like the early Final Fantasy games, is they have just like a save and quit, which is obviously like a beautiful thing for a handheld because you can just be like, oh, I got on a bus and I've got where I'm going, but I'm not at a save point, so you just save and quit. Like it
Mhm.
stops you saving in places you shouldn't, just to like
Yeah.
save right before a boss or whatever.
Yeah.
But like it lets you have that like pick up and go or drop or whatever, which I think is like really good.
Yeah, no. It to get into those handheld markets, you really have to offer that. Because the amount of people who just handheld game for sometimes 5, 10, 20 minutes and they don't have time to get to those. Like I'm Metal Gear Solid 4. I remember sitting down at my house and I just got back from work. The plan is we're gonna go out to dinner in like an hour or something like that. And like I was like, okay, I have an hour. I'm gonna hop on Metal Gear Solid 4 and do like a mission. Or do part of a mission. And it started a cutscene. Now, what I didn't know was this cutscene was 2.5 hours long.
You got absolutely Kojima.
I played none of the game. It was a 2.5. There was two saves in the middle of the cutscene. So like I got to the first save, I'm like, oh, I guess we're done. I might be able to play some of the game. No, it just started the next cutscene. I was so mad. It was just
What was it? Final Fantasy 14. So the Final Fantasy MMO. I don't know, like
Mhm.
some of the cutscenes in that. So you get to the end of one of the expansions, and it starts a cutscene, and it literally comes up with a warning, being like, "This is an excessively long set of cutscenes. Please make sure that you have the time." Because like I'll hop on 14 like before work. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got 45 minutes before I got to go. Like I like quickly go do like a daily, or I'll do some Beast Tribe stuff or whatever. And like, but literally, it has like a warning, like a user warning, being like, "This is a really long cutscene. Please make sure that you have the time because you're gonna want to watch it. It's like it's wrapping up the story.
Yeah.
Like if you're just burning through your MSQ and you've got like 20 minutes, and you're just like, oh yeah, I'll just like walk to the next bit. Don't press this button." And it's my favorite thing when I see it, and I'm just like, we'll see what happens because that warning can be on a 20-minute cutscene and it can be on an hour and a half cutscene, and there is like. It doesn't give you a time. It just goes like,
Yeah.
Gonna be long.
Roll the dice.
Just see what happens. Just settle down. Text your family. I'm not gonna be out for dinner.
Tell my wife and kids I love them.
Where'd Dad go? He started a cutscene.
He got Kojima. We've lost him. I've still not played Death Stranding.
Me neither.
And I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the time, but I'm just like, because I still play Ghost of Tsushima. My list of games to play is just insane. And I spoke to another streamer the other day on Twitter, and I said about like, oh yeah, I've started like the classic Final Fantasies, currently on number 5. And he went and looked at his Twitch tracker, and he came back to me and was like, oh, I'm on 13 now. He does Final Fantasy Fridays. He's like, I'm now on 13, and I started that 3 years ago, and I just went, oh no. Like, I've made a mistake.
What have I done?
I'm never playing another game ever again. Like that's the rest of my stream career.
Yeah, no,
So I'm
they're
just playing Final Fantasy games.
they're long games.
If you do everything, they definitely are. I remember like when I was a kid, my Final Fantasy 7 save file. So like you finish the game, like obviously you can see your save file.
Mm.
My save file was like 92 hours or something. I completed it again as I've completed it a couple of times, but like the first time I completed it again as an adult, I think it was like 31 hours. Like I absolutely scorched through it. I got the gold chocobo and everything. Like I went and did the chocobo breeding and all the racing to get Knights of the Round, and I still had a 31-hour finish time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how did this take me a third of the time? I mean, obviously as a child, I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Because like we all were. That's fine.
Yeah, you didn't exploit like weaknesses as much. You didn't like. You're just like You're like I love this attack, and it's like doing like 10% damage. You're like I like this attack. And you're like,
that is me with fire. Even as an adult at the moment playing the classic games, I'm like, I just like fire spells. Like I can't help it. Like wherever I'm fighting, I'm just like, I don't know what his weakness is. Fire Arga is probably gonna do damage.
Yeah.
It just feels like the most destructive of spells because you're like, you go boom, like that's it. I don't need more than that. I just need big boom.
Yeah, I was in a Discord and I saw someone that were like, "Oh, I want to do, get like the platinum for this Final Fantasy game or something." And one person came back and was like, "Spend 250 hours in game for the achievement."
It wasn't Final
It's
Fantasy
like,
10, was
what?
it? The 10 platinum is ridiculous.
I see again back to I don't have the mentality to platinum games. Like clearly Platinum Trophy Wife does, but like no, nope, nuh-uh.
I kind of wish that I did. I've got a few friends that are like achievement hunters.
Yeah.
And like one of them, like she goes through like Steam games and like she does like all of it, and like you'll see her like every day I'll log in, it's just like there she is. She's like still playing this game that she's playing for like 2 weeks. But I just like if I get bored of a game, I will never pick it up again. Like so I know if I spook myself off of a game looking for like an achievement that I can't get, I will just uninstall it and I will never touch it ever again. And I'm like, it seems like a waste. Like I could just go back later and maybe do it.
Yeah.
Still never did God of War. I only need one more trophy for the God of War plat.
Which the most recent God of War? The most recent God of War?
Yeah, the PS4 one.
Did I ever tell you what stupid thing I did in that game?
I think you might have. I think we actually had this conversation because the stupid thing you did was with the Valkyrie, wasn't it?
No, it was with leveling up abilities.
Oh, you
I
completely
watched
forgot
you
to
play,
level
and
up
I don't remember this.
Boy. Did you not level up Boy at all?
No, I only leveled up Boy until after I defeated the brothers. So what
You
happened?
forgot to level up. It's fine.
No. So I opened up the level screen and I looked real quick and I saw at the bottom the requirement. So then I just closed it. And I would go back every now and then and be like, man, I need like 500 armor to do this requirement for this ability, and I have 80. How long is this game? So like I just kept poking around, and the boy didn't have those requirements. So I kept leveling up his stuff. I'm like, I have all of this experience just piled up here. The boy is at like tier 4. I'm still at basic move sets. And then I realized those requirements were to get bonus stuff when you have the ability. So then all of a sudden I bought all of the abilities in the game. But I got all the way to like I'm like 2/3 of the game. Like I said, I beat the brothers. I beat that fight, and I still had the basic attacks. I had no advanced anything.
You got a new speedrun category. I don't know how to level up category.
Yeah, the dumbass category.
Any percent.
I do
So,
remember that now.
Yeah, no, like it was just
You're like, I can't buy this. I don't have the requirement.
And I kept being like, how long is this game? Like I got like 40 hours in. Like I've done so much. Like I can't do the second tier attack move. No, I was just an idiot.
I want to know if anyone, because like the skills had the stats that boosted them. Like, was there anyone ever that actually built into a build in that game? I just equipped the highest level thing. So every sort of like highest level, and then just let the cards lie where they will. I was like, it's fine. I'm just gonna go bop stuff and we'll just hope.
Yeah.
We'll just hope that things die.
I'm sure someone out there did, but the requirements were still so high. Like you're like very late game, just achievement hunting at that point before you're really unlocking those things.
I think maybe because like surely if you just like went and got armor that had all of like the strength or whatever. Like, you would probably get it like within the course of the game.
Yeah, like some of them, but like you still need like all of like the very high tier armor. And you can beat the game without getting the highest tier armors. Like you can just not do some of those side quests. You can not do those like arena challenges to unlock them. Like so, like some of those things you can just easily never get.
I lived in Niflheim in that game for ages. I loved that, like the roguelite kind of like labyrinth. Like mist thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I enjoyed it so much, but like you go from like you clear one room, you run out, you run in, you run out, to like you're doing like full runs of the whole thing. You're taking out like the last boss.
Yeah.
And like I went and got all the armor from that.
Okay.
That was super good. Still never beat the Valkyrie. But...
I beat some of them. Like I did a bunch of them, but they just got harder and harder. Like some were just like insane. I don't remember how many I did. But I don't.
The last one is a ridiculous fight.
That's when you. That's
Um,
then that like final arena you go to, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to there, so I don't think I beat that one. I
But
don't
yeah, it's just
remember
like,
beating that
I need to turn the difficulty down and try again. But I've been out of the game so long now that like I don't have that muscle memory for the combat.
one.
Because like the combat in that game was so well done.
Oh,
So well done.
It was, especially when you start unlocking those extra attack options. So good.
When you have more than just press square.
Yeah, but
You start off with hold triangle. It's fine. It takes 20 minutes. It's like an instant kill.
yeah, I had to try to find a lot of times to use that because things started getting a lot of hit points, and I was not doing a lot of damage.
I think I fought so many things basically just like seeing it like spawn in and then I just hold triangle. And I was like, oh boy, but when you get over here, you're getting it.
Oh, I love doing that game. Like, come on over. Come closer. Please come closer.
No, here.
then-
I can bop you into a wall if you just step a little bit left. I want to just push you.
And then you always get that one character who gets like within a half step of your range and then like throws a knife at you. You're like, you son of.
How dare you?
It ruins your charge.
Hours I was waiting. Oh man, that was a good game. All right.
But yeah, I think because did you play the original God of Wars?
Yeah.
Going back to like kind of nostalgia. God of War 3 was a brilliant game.
Gameplay wise, yes. Story wise, I hated it.
You hated the story?
Because
I like it because it's just man so angry kill God. I love it.
but like you in the first game, it was much easier to justify his actions.
Yes.
And the second game, it was a bit harder. The third game, you are just evil. You are now the big bad, murdering everything, and it
you became
bothered.
the bad guy from God of War 1.
Yes.
You are just-
So like that was why I disliked it. It's not that it's not like an implementation on their part was done poorly or anything like that. It just wasn't the story I wanted. So when I say I hate it, it just wasn't.
I think generally just people loved having knives on chains and they were like, we have to keep making games. We can't stop now.
Oh yeah, no, the gameplay was brilliant. I remember there's one like sequence, and I remember it was on a platform. And I don't remember if the platform was moving. I don't remember what it was, but like enemies kept spawning on the platform, and like I was playing on hard as my first playthrough, and it took me so many attempts to get through that section that like I started to like memorize the spawns. And it was just like, so you do the tags, and like one of them, like the final tags, like you do this like really big arcing swing with your axes that would cause people to fall. I'm like, okay, do this combo. Okay, turn over here and swing this way, right as people spawn, knock them down, and then I gotta go. Like, it just slowly became rote memorization to eventually get through this part. And it was just like, oh, it was brutal, but it was so good. Like that's a game I feel like would hold up.
I think it's the only game that I've not minded like QTEs.
Well, because they like started it. Like they
basically. I don't think they started it, but they changed what it was.
Yeah,
There were probably games before that had the idea of it, but like theirs was like these huge cinematic pieces that like they could have done it as a cutscene, but it was like, oh yeah, just like press buttons and then you feel like you're doing it. I think they translated it very well in, and other games that did it were just like they went, oh, they've got this new thing, we'll do that too, and then they just were like, so you want to press buttons whilst cutscenes play? Here's awful versions of that.
Yeah, it's like when you're a kid and like your family learns you like a thing, so everyone in your family gets something tangentially related, and you're just like, no, I kind of liked the thing. This is too much of the thing.
That's me with Batman. For some reason, everyone's got it in their head that I'm like massively obsessed with Batman. And then because of that, people keep buying me Batman stuff. And then if I ever try and argue against it, everyone's like, you have so much Batman stuff. You must love Batman. I'm like, you keep buying me the Batman stuff.
Yeah, like
I got like mugs. I got like my pop figures of Batman one, like everything. If anyone's ever thinking like, what am I going to get Elliot, is like, Batman. He loves Batman. He's got Batman everywhere.
Well, yeah, that's me to a similar extent with wolves. Like, I love the animal. But like I'm not a collector of memorabilia. I'm not that type of person. But I got blankets, plates, posters. I got like a wooden plaque with like a wolf thing. I have all of this stuff, and like I've purchased none of it. I would purchase none of it Because while I love the thing, I don't need like all of this
Please
stuff.
tell me you have one of those like, you know, the wolf shirts. I think there's a subreddit just about like
Three Wolf Moon.
old American people wearing like wolf t-shirts. It will always be like a really big moon and then like a wolf head
Yeah,
over it.
Three Wolf Moon.
Is it like a legit thing?
Yes.
We don't really get it here, I don't think.
So you could just Google Three Wolf Moon and you'll find the same shirt. It was huge in like the early 2000s. Like it was everywhere. But like, no, I don't have that shirt.
Yeah, but like there's people that have like those shirts for like different types, but they're all wolves.
Yeah. No, I don't, because my family, if they buy me shirts, they buy me like witty shirts. And since I don't buy myself wolf stuff, I don't have those. But like,
are you saying that the three wolf moon isn't witty?
no. So,
It's
oh my
clearly
god.
an allegory for the way that society splits people into three things.
So speaking of like witty shirts, so like I have a group text chat with my two sisters and my mom. And we don't really talk about anything. Most of the time it's me sending random memes that are like somewhat family related, and occasionally my sisters will do the same. And then one time like my mom like contacted me outside of that, like thinking I'm like attacking my sisters, like just being like really aggressive with some of these memes, and I was like, no, it's just funny. Like she's like, oh, I'm sorry, but I really don't get them, so I don't understand what's going on. I was like, it's just like I tried it on a very basic level, explain memes to my mother. So this woman who claims to not understand like the meanness of memes isn't actually being mean, for Christmas bought me a shirt that she stands behind, that she like is adamant represents me, that says morally flexible.
Your mum's got banned. Just the idea of having to explain that, like, the meanness of memes is bewildering to me, because as an Englishman, that's all we do. Like,
Yeah.
that's a family like thing, is we just bully each other.
Well, like, my sisters and I are all on board. It was my mom that's really, but then again, she buys me a shirt this is morally flexible, and she stands behind it. I was like, okay, mom, so you just think sometimes I'm just kind of evil? Like, what do you?
I feel like that's such a weirdly ambiguous insult as well.
So, like,
That could mean a lot of things.
yeah, and like, so now I have this shirt, morally flexible, and I've worn it several times. Oh, of course
My
I
mum
do.
bought me a shirt that just has a stick man on it that's doing this, and it just says "I pooped today." And I was like, Mum, that's not an outside the house shirt. I can't walk around it. I can't go to job interviews in that. Though it is probably true most days.
Yeah.
Like, that's not like a go to Starbucks t-shirt. Like, it's just not.
Yeah. No, I have worn it out because so I wear a dress shirt and tie every day to work. So when I get home, I'll switch into a t-shirt. So if I happen to run a quick errand after I've come home, like if I'm wearing it, I'm just wearing it. And on random weekends where I wasn't planning to go out, but then I have to run out real quick, like whatever. But like, but no, I've 100% worn it. I have one that has the back end of a chicken, and it just has an arrow pointing to their butt. It just says, "Guess what?" So then it's chicken butt. Like, these are shirts people buy me.
Are you a like shirt off the top of the pile kind of guy? So when you finish work, you just like grab a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I am assuming you have a drawer. I bet your shirts are folded. You just get the top.
Well, one, they're hung up, or they're in the dryer, because I'll just grab them from the dryer.
So fancy.
Like, my wife gets mad at me because like she hangs all of her stuff, so like it's in the closet or it's in the laundry room and it's hung up. She hang dries it so it doesn't wrinkle and stuff like that. Like, I throw all my stuff in the dryer and dry it. So when I get up in the morning, I walk past the dryer, I turn it on real quick, and I go and I let the dog out. I go and take my morning medicine. I go to the bathroom, and then I go to the dryer and take out my now unwrinkled clothes because they just got de-wrinkled in the dryer.
Yeah, it works smart, not hard.
Perfect.
So like that's my method. It's just everything
I
stays
used to
in
do
the
that for everything. It's
Yeah.
just tumble dry. Like, I go to work, shirt in the tumble dryer, 15 minutes, go and like sort of things. Problem was my tumble dryer was in my garage, so I'd have to like go out to the garage, not wearing anything on my top half,
Yeah.
and then like shirt in the dryer, and then like toddle back in, do what I'm doing, grab the shirt on the way out. I'd walk down the drive like doing my shirt.
Yeah.
It was grand.
I don't know. I show up to work all the time with my tie it's just draped around my shoulders. I tie my tie at work and like.
Oh, wearing a tie at work. I wear shirts at work, and I get like I get like picked out because I look like too fancy.
Yeah.
Because I work in an office in a hospital, so like most people are just like whatever. Like the managers and
A
stuff.
lot of people wearing
it's-
scrubs and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, the nurses wear scrubs, but like
Yeah.
in the offices, like a lot of people just wear like you just have to look like you aren't like fresh off the council estate.
Mhm.
That's the only real like kind of rules. So like, cause I'll wear like black jeans, like and like a shirt.
Yeah.
So I get like picked out a lot of just being like, oh, dressing fancy. I'm like, this is not fancy. It's like it'll be like a checked shirt. Like if you've ever seen my Instagram,
It
like,
is
all
compared
those
to what I
pictures
do.
at work.
No offense, I've never seen your Instagram.
My Instagram is all selfies of me in the lifts at work.
I saw you did like a short snippet of that on Twitter. I did see that. You did like 3 or 4 of them on Twitter. I saw that.
I have tweeted it out. I think I saw something the other day that they're like, oh, I just want to find a guy that's like lumberjack shirt aesthetic. No, I just want to find an Instagram that's like lumberjack shirt aesthetic. And I was like, fucking, I've got the Instagram for you. And I was just, like, it's just like rows and rows of selfies in a lift. Like, that's it. That's all that's there.
Yeah, but if you want to be lumberjack, you got to have flannel in the woods. You can't be on the lift.
Well, it's like flannel shirts in a lift.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a nouveau lumberjack.
We'll just photo out the lift and put in trees in the background.
just start putting potted plants on the lifts.
There you go. Perfect.
Right?
Perfect. Nailed it. You will now start the next Instagram fad.
It's
Lumber-
just potted plants and business lift.
Lumberjack
waited
potted
till,
plant in a
like-
lift.
I'm waiting until like there's just someone in the lift, but I'm like, oh, I do want to get this selfie though. Just like get them in the scrubs. Someone in a bed, like it's fine. We'll just get in. Like high angle would be right.
They're covered in the sheet. They're going to the morgue, and you're just like,
Everyone's in masks at the moment, so it's just like, yeah. Smile if you fancy it. It'll be alright.
oh man. I hate dressing up. I hate fancy. I hate button-up shirts and all that.
I like it now. I never used to. I used to be like, because I worked as a pub quiz host, so it's just t-shirt, jeans.
Yeah.
But I actually quite like putting on real clothes and going to work, and like for the small amount of time that I was working and could still go out in public.
Yeah.
Like I started like wearing them out as well, just like because it's like casualish shirt anyway.
Yeah.
I prefer it. I wouldn't wear a tie all the time. I know a
Going
few
out
people
in
that do
public,
that.
what's
Like they'll like go to the pub in like a shirt and a tie and like a
Yeah.
waistcoat.
Yeah. No. I've never been. I don't like button-up shirts, and I rip through the elbows constantly. Like my left elbow is like a knife. I'm gonna be ripping through that shirt in like a month.
Do you sit at a desk? Because I find that I've worn my elbow down because I have to wear short sleeves. So when you're in clinical, like anywhere clinical,
Mhm.
you have to wear what they call bare below the elbow, so you can't wear like long sleeves. I'm wearing my elbow down because I sit at my work desk like this, and so I have like an elbow on a rest and then using my mouse.
I mean, I do,
And
but
I'm-
I don't really elbow on the desk too much. Yeah, not
I'm
that I.
wearing my bone away. I can't help it. Like I think this elbow is smaller now.
It might be.
Done something.
You're wearing yours away. Apparently, I'm sharpening mine. Like just
Just grinding it down.
so. Yeah, so I need to buy like new dress shirts every couple months just because I just tear holes in them and I don't know why. So maybe it's like a fit issue. Maybe I got to buy looser shirts.
Just reinforced elbows. Maybe that's what like the tweed things with the suede elbow pads are for.
I mean, it
Isn't
is,
it?
but like I don't want to be that guy. That just looks
You need to
weird.
invest.
No,
If
I don't want
anyone, well, if anyone's like, "Oh,
don't
you're
wanna
a
be
substitute
that
teacher," you can be
guy.
like, "No, I just have really sharp elbows. This isn't a suede patch. This is a sheath. It's fine. It's for your protection."
I don't. I am already a somewhat distinguished looking gentleman working in a bank as a banker. I don't need the reinforced elbows now just to really just complete that look.
Just a hammer at home.
Like you walk into the bank and look at me and you're like, "Ooh, I think my my numbers. Oh, what's the? I just credit score just went up. Like I'm just like that generic looking guy in a bank."
Like when you walk into somewhere, like if you walk into a shop and you see like someone working there that you're like, "Oh, I never would imagine they work there." Like no one's had that with you.
No.
No one's ever walked into the bank and been like, "First day." They're just like, "Oh, isn't that guy?" It's fine.
Yep. Nope.
I know I'm in good hands.
I just have that look. No, my wife and I went to the store the other day, and we were going over to a friend's house to like celebrate them buying a house. And we stopped to pick up some alcohol on the way. And we're at the self checkout, but we still have to like get one of the people over to like verify the IDs because we're buying alcohol. So the girl comes over, looks at me, looks at my wife, tells my wife, "I need to see your ID." My wife starts going for the ID, looks at me again and goes back. I was like, I know, but like, come on. And then like when she's done, even though my wife isn't, she looks at me again and hits over 40, and I'm like, oh, I hate you so much now.
Wait, there's an over 40 button.
Yeah. So
Is that-
there's
do you
over
have to, like-
40 and under 40. If it's under 40, like the teller person goes, this person looks under 40, hit that, and then they enter the date of birth. But then they can look at someone and goes, nah, they look over 40. And then they don't have to do any
ours is,
extra
like,
steps.
25 for that. It used to be Think 21, and now it's Think 25. So you don't ID if you think they're over 25.
Now for certain places here, it's like 35 or 40. And in this case, Walmart, it's 40.
You know,
So
you
she
guys
looked at
are
me and like,
real
you look
sick.
over 40. And I'm like, I'm not.
I'm not. I only get ID'd now that we have to wear face masks all the time. If I
Yeah.
wear like a mask that's like covering everything, I get ID'd. If I wear like like this, sometimes I leave the hospital and I just like keep the surgical one on because I know that I'm gonna go to a store. So like I'll just like, well, I may as well keep this one. But if I wear anything that's like up or before all the mask stuff, like if I shave, I get ID'd.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. If I have the beard, don't get ID'd. Like they're like, yeah, clearly he's easily in his 30s. And then if I shave, they're just like, maybe.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Maybe this is a child.
I don't get that. Like, it's not. it's not a worry for me. But all right, it's been an hour, so I want to wrap things up. But before we do that, I want to do the one question I had mentioned earlier. So this is if you could revisit anything as a first time. So whether it's a movie, a TV show, a video game, a book, anything, if you could wipe all memory of it and be able to experience it for the first time again, what would you pick? Like what did like what had that moment for you that like going back you still like it, but like it's not as good.
My problem is because every time we talk nostalgia, like I just go Final Fantasy every time, but it's probably Final Fantasy 7
Okay.
or 10. Can I just do all of Final Fantasy? Can I just forget all of them and do them all again?
No.
Because it's probably those or Sekiro.
If it was like a
just to learn
series,
again,
like
that
if
would
it was like Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, where it's blatantly a series, I would say yeah, you could wipe yourself of the series. But like you can't wipe yourself
but
of
not
like
15
15.
disjointed games.
Yeah.
Curses. Yeah, it'd probably be Final Fantasy. Probably 7.
Okay.
Just because I want to know if if I went back and not if I went back, if I experienced it for the first time as an adult, would I feel the same way as a child? So I'd have to like note it down, get like the forget ray,
Yeah.
then do it again and be like, because what if I just thought it's crap now? Like,
That's the thing. Like, would it hold up like and stuff like that? Like, because nostalgia drastically changes our opinions on games. Like, real quick, so Demon's Souls just did its re-release, and for people that love Demon's Souls and went back and replayed it, it was gorgeous and well done and stuff like that. But like, there's a lot of people be like, man, the mechanics are bad. It's like, oh yeah, no, they were because this was the first game. And like if you go straight from like Dark Souls 3 into Demon's Souls, like it's gonna feel very rough around the edges. It's gonna look fantastic, but like they've done a lot to improve the feel, mechanics, the combat, and everything of the game. So like that's the thing. Like you might wipe yourself with Final Fantasy VII and play it for the first time and go, oh, I don't like this.
can I get the memories back of it? I don't like it.
Sure, in this magic situation, you get them back.
Nice. I'm in then.
All right, what about you, Toddy? What would you do?
Probably Ocarina of Time,
Okay.
because I spent a lot of time playing N64 and especially Zelda. I mean, I played that game multiple times over. I'm sure many people have. So it's it's just one thing from childhood. Come home from school, hop on the N64, start playing games. I mean, I had other systems, like I had an NES and a Genesis and stuff, but N64 was like teen years, so
Okay.
the first the first console we really got really into and played a whole bunch of time on and everything like that. So
Okay. So I think my game. So I debate. I go back and forth. It depends if I want to pick a game that has like just a beautiful like twist type of moment, or just like that culmination of the story that I loved. Like I know some people. I know Platinum would agree with this, but like the first Last of Us. Like I really love that story, and like going back and replaying it, it doesn't hit me nearly as hard as it did the first time. Because I know what's going to happen. That moment when Joel decides, fuck it, and he like goes back in to save her and stuff like that. Like those moments, like after all that, like that feeling when it occurred was like, oh yeah, and I love that. Or if I'd want to do like Mass Effect 2, like I'll wipe myself of all three and only play the first two. But like the second game, like we've talked about this in the previous one, that to me is one of the best games of choice matters. Like you can just lose the game, like and like the ending and who lives who dies, like I loved that feeling of like it actually felt like my decisions were mattering, and like the first time you play and like you just screwed up and like these three people die and you lose the game, you're like, oh, like so it'd be between one of those. I'd probably rather go with Last of Us if I had to really pick.
I would love to see what they do with the remaster for Mass Effect because I want
Mm,
to know if they're going to keep them. Because I went back and replayed them a while later because they were on Origin. But like the combat system for Mass Effect 1 and like the way everything handles, like, because obviously it was an older game,
yeah.
like it's just like really clunky and like even down to the world exploration because like you go down on the rover.
Oh my god, the
Like,
Mako was the worst thing in existence.
yeah, it was
Jesus Christ.
horrible. But like, I'd really love for them to take like the mechanics and the way three's combat, like the be able to like bend skills
Hmm.
around like cover and stuff. I'd love to see them put that into one. Have one
Yes.
story and like the like even like keep the Paragon Renegade stuff and all that. But like, just give me the combat and the movement and stuff from three, which would be
Yeah.
grand. Like, I'd happily play that.
Yeah, no, the Mako was horrible because whoever decided to make the vehicle go the direction of the gun aiming was just a horrible idea. You have like a vehicle, you have an alternate pivoting gun, you try to aim this and your vehicle is, oh, that way? You're like, no, no, I want to
Oh,
stay on
okay.
this road and I want to shoot that thing over there. Like, no, no, we're going this way. Like, oh, it was terrible bad. It
Although
was.
it still wasn't as bad as the Firefly. Did you play the DLC? I think it was for 3. It might have been for 2.
I never played any
And
of
it
the
was like,
DLC.
so one of the DLCs was called it was called like Firefly,
Okay.
and it was like you go to this specific planet and you got a different vehicle, and it's like this weird like hovery thing, almost the the urban helicopter thing in the Batman films.
Hmm.
Do you remember that? Like where it's got like the weird like down
Yeah.
rotors. Like it was a very like that, but it handled. I don't know who decided. Like I think every now and then it like rolls a dice, and it's like, oh well, death. Like it was just so often it just be like carefully steering, and then it's like, yeah, well, like every time.
It would get
But
shot.
that was nearly as bad as the Mako.
Yeah. Oh. I always get confused when things like that make it out of testing. Like, how did no one discover this? Like,
In my experience with knowing QA testers, 9 times out of 10, the testers were aware of it, wrote a report, and then someone in management went, "Don't have time, just leave it in."
probably. For those things, I get it. The ones that really confuse me is when, like, characters' voice lines, like the repeated ones, it's like, I've been playing this game for an hour, and they've said, oh, yeah, good job, 80 times. Like, that has to be a quick setting you can tweak. That's not like a redesign. That's not going like that. There has to be just a little like INI file somewhere in the back end that you just change a digit, and that becomes once every like 30 minutes, not once every 30 seconds. Like
yeah,
those ones aggravate me.
you should ask my Divinity 2 group about that.
Oh, why?
There's one woman in like Act 2 that just walks around from stall to stall and just talks and says the same lines every time she walks to a stall. So by the time we finished that act, I just walked up to her and I just killed her. I was like, I can't take your voice anymore.
You finally snapped like, I'm done. Done. I've reached my.
I love how you wait until the last minute. Instead of just getting annoyed with her at the start, killing her off so you don't have to deal with it, you waited until you were leaving and then you were like, actually, no, bam.
Well, yeah, because we needed the because if you kill her, all the shop tellers and stuff will aggro.
Yeah.
So we needed the shopkeepers and stuff so we could sell our loot and buy stuff. So I waited until when we finish an act, we just go crazy because we know we're leaving anyways.
Yeah.
So we'll just murder and steal everything.
You're like the worst adventure party ever.
You're literally the D&D murder hobo part. Like you just.
Exactly. Yes, we
Do
are.
you guys ever play? I know Toddy has. Do you ever play a lot of like Diablo 2?
No, I haven't played Diablo 2. I played an awful lot of Diablo 3.
Oh, I used to play 2. 2's amazing. But Deckard Cain got like his infamy is from Diablo 2, and like every time you'd go and talk to him, because you talk to him every time you go into town, because that's where you would identify stuff. It would just be stay a while and listen, and you're like, shut up, Deckard Cain. Like leave, come back, stay a while and listen. You're like fucking shit. Like he was like that was the old school. Like that was just his voice line. Every time you clicked on him, stay a while and listen. You're like, shut up.
I mean, almost on par with Ocarina of Time Owl. Do you want to hear that one again? And they swap which one's yes.
Oh my god! So you're like smashing
that bastard
to get through it all. You're like, no.
Like in Pokemon Red and Blue, like when you're healing, you just smash in A, and then she's like, "Thanks,
Ding,
we'll see
ding,
you again."
ding,
But, like,
ding.
there was like a delay between the message coming up, so you'd be like trying to get rid of the message,
Yeah.
and then it's like it goes away, and it's like, "Oh, you're here to heal your Pokemon." Like, no, we've been through this.
Bing, ding. Yeah. Games need to learn that you need to make no the default, and then like make the quicker option. Oh my god. Yeah. All the time. Stupid owl. But all right, it's been a little over an hour and 15. I'm gonna let you guys go. So tell everyone who you are. Tell them where they can find you. We'll start with Blindside. Who are you? Where can we find you?
Blindside GK, I'm a variety streamer, as I said at the start. I stream here on Twitch 2 days a week. I'm also on Twitter, Blindside_UK. And I have an Instagram that is just me in lifts that I think is also Blindside_UK.
All right, Toddy, who are you? Where can they find you?
I'm Toddy13. I don't really stream anymore, but you can find me on Twitter and we're on several Discords if you need me.
All right. And I'm Grey Wolves. You can find me at Twitter at Wolves1226. You can find me on Twitch at Grey_Wolves. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.
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 Oh, God. I hit the wrong thing. We're professionals.
Just to smash your buttons.